Breaking news, mistake. The Trump administration issuing a rare apology tonight, admitting that it made a mistake, that's their word, in the deportation of a Massachusetts college student. That student is Lucia Lopez Belloza. She's 19 years old. She's a freshman at Babson College near Boston. Now, she was detained at the airport while she was there. She was going to fly home to surprise her family in Texas for Thanksgiving. Belloza grew up in Texas after coming to the United States as a child seeking asylum. Now, tonight,
guys, thank you so much for joining me. John Soto, this is SotoCast. Today we're going to take a look at CNN. They have they found something. Let's see what they do with it and see if we can expand upon this and see if this is the actual greater issue that is occurring during these deportations that are happening.
Tonight, a federal judge is weighing emergency action and whether Ani will be allowed to return to the United States. And Ani's Lucia Lopez Belloza is out front now in her first live television interview since the Trump administration admitted it mistakenly deported her. Her attorney, Todd Pomerleau, is also with us. And I appreciate both of you very much. Ani, the government admitted in court that it made a mistake. Those are their words. I mean, here you are months after this with what you've been going through. What's your reaction to that stunning admission?
I was already kind of shocked because of everything that happened. But I'm also with hearing that they have apologized to the mistake that they made. I accept their apologies, and I hope that based on this apology, I'm able to return back to my studies and also to be home with my parents.
Well, I think that's obviously incredibly gracious of you. You accept their apology and you just want to come home. I mean, you're not home right now. You're not in the United States. I know you can't disclose your current location, but you're not home. I mean, do you have any idea of when you can return?
I don't have no idea, but I do hope to return as early as possible for me to start my semester and also like finish my semester, my spring semester at Babson.
Right. Well, obviously, because you were going home for Thanksgiving and then you didn't come back. I mean, Todd, the deportation here happened, right, when Ani goes to the airport to go see her family at Thanksgiving, and then they take her. Her deportation happened in spite of a judge's order. I think a lot of people just want to understand, how does a deportation happen when it's in direct violation of a court order?
Aaron, thank you for having us on again tonight to talk about this tragedy. And, for months we were left thinking that this was purposeful conduct by the Trump administration. And we went to court on Tuesday, and the government's attorney apologized on behalf of the United States, on behalf of the Trump administration. And we have to accept it for what it is. It's a rare apology, and they can only make this right. An apology without a remedy is a hollow apology, in my view. And what happened here is she was traveling with her Honduran passport. That was her real ID, trying to board a plane. And it was a ruse. TSA and immigration enforcement were working in tandem, told her boarding pass didn't work. She was abruptly detained, taken to an ICE facility, deprived of phone calls for several days. She didn't know she had a lawyer till Monday, and we'd sued Friday. I didn't know where she was because she was disappeared from the database that would reflect that she was in the custody of ICE. We later learned in talking to Ani that she was a few miles down the road at a military base, held there for several hours when we were trying to find her and contact her and stop this from happening. And what has apparently happened is an ICE officer received an email with a court order attached and thought that it didn't apply because the plane had already left Massachusetts. But she was flown to Texas. That's still the United States. And the next day she was deported over a weekend before we even had a court hearing. So the first court hearing we've had, we'll accept the olive branch. We'll accept the apology. And I'd like to work with the Trump administration here. They like to make deals. They like to make things happen. Let's make it happen. Let's bring her back home. She goes to Babson College, one of the best colleges in the world to study business. Just like the president, he's a business owner. She wants to be a business owner. She wants to help her father. He's a tailor. They escaped persecution. These are great people, hardworking people. They pay their taxes. They have children that are citizens. Ani's the oldest.
And Ani, I know your dad said immigration officials had showed up at one point at your home in Austin. One of the agents reportedly rushed at your father, according to the New York Times. Gosh, there's so much I want to ask you. Can I just ask you about what happened then and how that even feels to think that happened to?
So here's I know I went a little long on this. Sorry. Essentially, here's a breakdown of my thinking. They are trying to get people out of the country. In the effort to do that, does anyone think anyone's ever going to bat 1,000 or 100%? No, obviously that's not the case. Obviously, the mistakes will be made. That has to be baked into the cake. Being baked into the cake when you are trying to do the massive amount of enforcement that they're trying to do and they're trying to accomplish. There are going to be mistakes along the way. You try to mitigate that as much as you can. From my understanding, I think there's a figure floating out there that says like 170 or whatever, 170 so Americans have been detained / whatever. So in this case, this lady is not an American. But let's be clear on that. Let's be crystal clear. She's not an American citizen. So she doesn't fall within that category. She I guess she's here legally, right? Because she came here illegally, I guess, as a child, and then they just said, okay, you're here legally because we came here illegally as a child. To the best of my understanding, that's where we at. So she doesn't have an American passport. She doesn't have quote unquote citizenship. She's just somebody that is here legally, and that can be kind of messy. You don't think that can be kind of, everyone's out there with all these different statuses, illegal, legal, refugee status, work visas. All of these things are floating out there, and it gets messy and sticky. So when you go through the numbers and you see that, the actual number, I think, like I said, it's like 170 whatever Americans have been quote unquote detained. And I would even challenge that. I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean you're getting hauled away and locked away in a cell for a couple of days? Or does that mean that they're doing a car stop and they stop and they talk to you for a little bit, and then, the guy you have in your back seat is illegal, they take him away? But whatever it is, 170 out of the million or so. I mean, I think, like I said, I did the math on a couple of chat bots, and they said it's essentially like point like 0 something percent. I mean, you're talking about, like I said, you cannot be perfect. There are going to be those scenarios. That is just going to happen. You can't get away from that. Law enforcement is a messy game. Mistakes are going to be made. And in this situation, look what they did. They said, sorry, we made a mistake. Isn't that great? Isn't that fantastic? That you're just willing to go in there and just say, our bad. We're going to make it better. I'm sure she's going to be compensated. Our lawyer's going to get paid. She's going to get paid. She's going to be able to go to her college or whatever it is she's doing. And then things will be right as rain. She got to spend a couple of months back home for a little bit. I don't, it doesn't seem like she's, they're saying, and that's part of the caveat, right? Because they were fleeing. So, we can't disclose her location. Otherwise, people are going to run up in there and murder her. Like that's kind of what they're getting at with this scenario, that she's been put in grave danger by going back home. I don't know. That part I'm not buying. But guess what? They made a mistake. They owned up to it. Isn't that what we want? That's exactly what we want to happen. So, this is, CNN's going to spin this and be like how terrible it is. In the end, this is exactly how it's supposed to work. We're trying to get as many people out as we can that were here legally. In that massive amount of people, there's going to be a couple of people that get flaked. We recognize that. We apologize. They're going to be compensated. They're going to be back. They're going to be back home with their friends and family. Everything should be good to go.
Others in your family while you're going through this?
It was pretty shocking when I heard the news. It was more trauma for my end, knowing that I got deported, being deported, and then hearing that my parents are also going through being chased basically by ICE. It was just a lot to take in. It's been so hard for us and my family. We are been trying our best to work this whole situation out as much as we can, but it's been so difficult.
Listen, they know they just hit a damn lottery ticket. Let's be honest about this. Let's be quite honest. They won the lottery, because it seems like if ICE is chasing down her maybe her parents are illegal. I don't know what it is, but in the end, no one's going to end up touching them. They're going to basically have legal status throughout, and they're going to get paid. So, as much as I'm sure the lawyer was like, "Listen, don't be too happy because we know it's about to go down," but everyone knows exactly what's about to go down.
I mean, Ani, you're a college student, and you go to the airport to surprise your family. And then all of this happens. You get taken into custody. You can't make phone calls for days. You don't know where they're taking you. Can I just ask you what that was like?
Horrible.
It was traumatizing. I have never in my life experienced this at all. And I was so worried because I had a lot of assignments that I had to turn in. And I wanted to call at least somebody in my family to be able let the school know what's going on. But it was so difficult to try to work with them because I tried to ask for phone calls and they were like, you have to wait until I was given one. But it was so difficult just because being a college student, we already go through a lot of stress with finals, and it was literally final seasons coming up. So it was so so hard for me. I had more stress put into my shoulders.
I truly.
I had more stress put into my shoulders. Well, there you go. Hopefully she graduates college with honors and she becomes a very good businesswoman. I'm not sure how long she's been here, but probably could have taken an English class. Sorry, not sorry. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. 6283 Talk on the X. If you want to follow me, I appreciate all of the new subs. It's pretty awesome. Please share this with friends. See if they like it. If they don't, screw them. But again, thank you so much for joining me. Hit that subscribe button. That's pretty much all I'm looking for right now. It subscribes. If you want to like and share, that's fantastic. I really appreciate that too. 6283 Talk on the X again. I'm John Soto. See you again on the next video, guys. Take care.